Genshin Impact 5.3 was revealed, which means we can finally start talking about the new characters. First and foremost, let's start with the Archon Mavuika. Probably pronouncing that wrong, honestly don't care. She's a Pyro Claymore character and has all of the traversal options of every character we've seen thus far. She can fly, she can drive up walls, she can run on water, everything. Here's her Ascension card, which as far as I can tell is going to require a new boss material that's going to be coming with the new update. Looks actually really intimidating and really cool. And here are the banners that she'll be available in. So her elemental skill, the Named Moment. Calling upon her authority over conflict, Mavuika summons the all-fire armaments passed down through the line of human Archon, blah, blah, blah. She summons a motorcycle. And after using it, her Night Soul points are restored to max value and she enters the Night Soul Blessing state. The All-Fire armament has different forms based on tapping or holding the button. Tapping is called Divine Name Unleashed. Her motorcycle manifests as a ring of soaring radiance. The ring follows the current active character and attacks nearby opponents at intervals, dealing Night Soul aligned pyro damage. The hold ability, Ancient Name Unbound, is when you actually summon her Flame Strider motorcycle. In this state, you can ride the motorcycle at high speed or activate its hidden backup propulsion module to temporarily cross various terrain types like gliding midair, running up walls, driving over water, whatever. Her normal charged and plunging attacks will also be converted to deal Night Soul aligned pyro damage, which cannot be overridden. When sprinting, she also deals Night Soul aligned pyro damage to opponents along her path. While in the Night Soul Blessing state, tapping the elemental skill can switch the All-Fire armament's form. The armaments will disappear once Mavuika's Night Soul Blessing state ends. And her Night Soul Blessing will continuously consume Night Soul points according to the All-Fire armament's form, and the state ends once the Night Soul points are exhausted. Her ultimate ability, Hour of Burning Skies, is not reliant on energy, but instead reliant on fighting spirit. So the fighting spirit, when Mavuika has at least 50% fighting spirit, she can consume it all to unleash her elemental burst. You can obtain fighting spirit in the following method. When in combat, Night Soul points consumed by nearby party members are converted to fighting spirit, or when nearby party members' normal attack hits opponents, Mavuika gains 1.5 fighting spirit that can be triggered once every 0.1 second. After using her ultimate, Mavuika gains 10 Night Soul Spirit points and enters Night Soul Blessing state, riding her motorcycle high into the air. She'll use powerful Sunfell Slice against opponents on the ground, dealing Night Soul aligned pyro damage and entering the Crucible of Death and Life state. During this time, Mavuika's various actions will no longer consume Night Soul points and her interruption to resistance is increased. Also, the damage dealt by the Sunfell Slice and Ancient Names Unbound normal and charge attacks is increased based on the amount of fighting spirit she has when using the elemental burst. The Crucible of Life and Death state will be cancelled when Mavuika leaves the field. Now her passive abilities, Night Shattering Radiance. The party's Night Soul transmission cooldown is decreased by 20%. Exhaust mode, so after Night Soul points have been fully depleted, Mavuika will switch to using Phlogiston to maintain the All-Fire armament Flame Strider form. When in an area with Phlogiston mechanics within Natland, when the current active character is sprinting, climbing, swimming, or in any movement modes caused by certain talents, or at a certain height in the air, switching to Mavuika will trigger the following. She will enter Night Soul Blessing state and obtain 50% of her maximum Night Soul points. Night Soul transmission can be triggered once every 10 seconds by your own party. Her next passive, Gift of Flaming Flowers. When a nearby party member triggers a Night Soul burst, Mavuika's attack is increased by 30% for 10 seconds. And her final passive, Kyongozi. After using her elemental burst, every point of fighting spirit present when it is used increases the damage that the current active party member deals by 0.2%. The maximum increase available through this is 40%. The effect will last 20 seconds and decay over this duration until it reaches 0. Moving on to her Constellations. For C1, Mavuika's maximum Night Soul points are increased to 120 and she gains Fighting Spirit 25% more efficiently. Additionally, she gains 40% attack for 8 seconds after gaining Fighting Spirit. Her C2, when in the Night Soul Blessing state, her base attack is increased by 200 and she obtains the following effects based on her All-Fire armament's form. Ring of Soaring Radiance will make nearby opponents' defense decreased by 20%. And the Flame Strider will have Mavuika's normal attacks increase by 60%, her charge attacks increase by 90%, and her ultimate abilities Sunfell Slash increase by 120% of her attack damage. Her C3 increases her ult by 3 levels. Her C4 enhances the effects of the passive talent Kyongozi. The damage increase gained after using the elemental burst will not decay over time, and an additional 10% damage will be gained. Her C5 gives her elemental skill 3 levels, and her C6, her elemental skill will get all around improvements. So for Ring of Searing Radiance, when the ring's attacks hit opponents, a Flame Strider will crash into the struck opponent, dealing 200% damage as Night Soul aligned area of effect pyro damage. And the Flame Strider, when Mavuika is riding the Flame Strider, she will also summon a Scorching Ring of Searing Radiance to follow her, which will decrease nearby opponents' defense by 20% and deal 400% of attack as Night Soul aligned area of effect pyro damage to nearby opponents once every 3 seconds. Mavuika's terrain crossing abilities will also be further improved. Additionally, when Mavuika is riding on her Flame Strider and is not in combat, when her Night Soul points drop to 5, she will gain 80 Night Soul points, and this effect can trigger every 15 seconds. Absolutely busted looking character, not only just in terms of its offensive capabilities, but the exploration as well. A part of me is a little bit disappointed because this character kind of obliterates all of the other characters' terrain abilities. Also, those of you that frequent other gacha games might have noticed that this character is actually a ripoff of another character that released in Tower of Fantasy. Still, I can't remember the last time that we had a 5-star character that would lower defense on enemies to this degree outside of Raiden.